Hi, welcome to the Indie Impact Music Show. Today we'll be discussing the independence of indie music today. I'm your host, Felicity, with...
And I'm Eliza. Coming up, we have a discussion on what happens when indie songs go viral, exciting events coming up this year, and answering your questions. But first of all, 2024 was a big year for indie music, with several new albums coming out and extreme awards. The Libertines, Fontaines DC, The Last Dinner Party, Blossoms, Jake Bugg, Kings of Leon, and a huge congratulations to all those artists, especially Fontaines DC, who got Best International Group at the Brit Awards 2025. Now, we're going to ask you some general questions, as I know you love your indie music.
Ready.
So, what makes indie artists stand out nowadays in mainstream?
I definitely think it's like being unpredictable and the uniqueness that they have with their music, like going from acoustic to electric in a second.
Who's your favourite indie music artist and why?
God, I'm just going to say Jake Bugg. Like, his music is really unique and it really fits his vibe. And there's such a clear message in his songs that people need to focus on.
We will be coming to you later, so make sure to ask some questions in the chat below. So, we're going to talk about the Libertines and especially All Quiet on the Eastern Esplanade. What is your thoughts about his tour going to Halifax, so local?
Well, I think it's very good that he's going to Halifax because a lot of bands and artists, they technically go to very well-known cities like Manchester, London, Edinburgh. They never really go to the local ones like Leeds or Halifax. So the fact that he's going local is very good for all the local Yorkshire people, and people can just get there quicker, so it's good.
And as we know, he's released a solo album too, Felt Better Alive. Do you think this will attract a new audience?
I think, no, I don't really think so. I think it's going to attract mainly the fans. I feel like the Libertines, I feel like the audience it will attract, it will be the very underground indie artist listeners, I think.
And you mentioned Jake Bugg before. From a local indie artist performing at venues such as Cliff Castle in Keighley to being on The Tonight Show, how could he rise such a big of fame?
As I'm just saying, I think his debut album came out in 2012 and he had his song called Lightning Bug, and that's been a very popular song because of the uniqueness of it, like going from acoustic to electric. Like the verse is like acoustic and then it goes electric, and I feel like it's very unique from him to do, and I feel like the rise that he's had is really well deserved with all the effort he's put into his lyrics and his songs. I really appreciate it.
You mentioned Lightning Bolt. How has his biggest hit, Lightning Bolt, waved his own path and future generations within British indie music?
Well, I definitely feel like the 2010s have had like a really low standpoint of, indie bands and indie artists. So I think the fact that I feel like the 2010s really, really needed Jake Bugg to have the rise of indie come back. And I feel like he's inspired a lot of young artists today with his rhythm and his formula of what he's doing.
Yeah, and I've seen we have some questions from you all at home, so we're going to be looking at them now. Which Beatles album is the most experienced?
I'd probably just say their debut album. Just go with the Beatles, to be honest.
What album do you think should gain more recognition?
Oh, I think, to be fair, Jake Bugg's debut album, to be honest. If I'd have to choose any, but then I also think his new album as well, it's called, right here, A Modern Day Distraction. It's got the songs Zombieland on it, and it's a very good representation of what's happening in the real world.
Yeah, I agree. And in the past couple of decades, social media has allowed all sorts of things to go viral, with indie songs and artists being no exception. And as we know, TikTok, people love to edit with certain clips.
Yeah.
But do you think that one trend or viral snippet should be enough for an artist to gain spotlight?
Well, it really depends on the song. If the indie song has the same layout throughout the whole thing, yes, but if it's like a little snippet in a certain song, but the rest is very different, then no.
I completely forgot to ask about the last dinner party. Do you think this is a strong female band in a male industry?
I definitely think so, because I feel like with most female artists, they mostly do pop or hip hop or, you know, like the main genres that we know today. But I feel like with the last dinner party, their music is so unique, and you can tell they've got inspiration from Mazzy Star and I'd say Remy Bond as well, because they're very, like, the songs are very, like, relaxing, but then fast at the same time. Like, especially with the song Nothing Matters, which they performed at the Brit Awards last Sunday.
Yeah. In the past couple of decades, social media should have been blossoming different songs, but do you think long-time fans are happy getting recognition or upset for the wrong reasons?
Well, I think sometimes, well, most of the time, fans can be quite upset when a song gets popular because they want it gatekept since it's underground, and they feel like if they know an underground song or an underground artist, they think they're cool. And yes, that makes sense, but it's also good when they got popular, because obviously you need to be happy for, like, the artists you support. But I also feel like when they're, you know, like, unknown, people are like, yes, but when they're, like, finally known, they're like, oh no, it's bad. Like, they think both ways are just bad. Like, they can never be happy with them being known or unknown, because there's like an instant divide between the two fandoms, because it's like they're like split into two, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
With their opinions.
We also have got a question from the chat again, and that is, what brought you into indie music?
I'd say definitely my dad. My dad has like a lot of indie songs that he's been playing in the car. You know, I'd say like There Goes Lafia by the Doves. I'd say the Klaxons, like Golden Scans, It's Not Over Yet.
Yeah.
And just many others. I'd say James as well, that's a good band.
Yeah.
Very underrated, I'd say. Good songs like Sometimes, Sit Down, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think is the biggest challenge indie artists face in 2025?
That is a hard question. I think they want to be unpredictable, because I feel like a lot of artists nowadays, specifically the most popular ones, they're very predictable with like what they write. Like, and I think the same songs are being like played on the radio, and that also makes me think of like one of the Libertine songs. That's like, it's always the same songs on the radio, something like that. But I think it's very inspiring to other underground and unique artists, because their unique songs should be put on the radio too, and it tends to be most of the TikTok famous, you know, songs that get famous on the radio. So it's kind of disappointing, to be fair. I really wish the indie artists would just get more recognition on the radio, but thankfully we have a radio called Radio X, and that plays alternative bands and indie artists. And they also had Jake Bugg, speaking of him again, Jake Bugg on, and they asked questions about his new album, The Real Life Distract, I forgot what it's called, sorry, but his new song Zombieland, and then also the fact that he toured with John Squire and Liam Gallagher, so they're very famous. But people have been saying that he should have his own tour as well, aside from him headlining with other artists. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
As if people are only knowing Jake Bugg because of John Squire and Liam Gallagher from Oasis and Stone Roses.
Yeah, and I am much looking forward to what more indie artists brings to this year, and how excited the fans will be. So it's brilliant, and I can't wait to see more trends. So I would like to say thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you, Felicity, for answering questions and bringing your own opinions. Thank you so much for the questions from home, and don't forget to join us next week where we'll be talking about Sonic with our star guests. Goodbye.